Living Adaptive.
The goal is to adapt and thrive despite the adversity you face.
You're going to have that little voice inside of you trying to push yourself.
I set a vision for myself, and now I'm seeing it come to fruition.
I'm grateful for losing my leg.
There's just some things you must endure in life.
You might crash. You might fail.
You can find a purpose in your suffering.
I'm not special. I've just decided that I'm not going to stop.
You do everything you possibly can.
We want to change the world.
I'm going to adapt to it and make it the way it works for me.
Take what it is from life that you want and enjoy it.
What's up, everybody? This is Living Adaptive, and this is Scott Davidson. And what I'm going to tell you right now is where you can find show notes, and that's going to be at living_adaptive. Also, in the app you're on right now, if you're audio, just look at the bottom. You're going to see our guest contact information, and you'll be able to link up with previous episodes. Also, go to livingadaptive.com for further information, all kinds of good stuff. Lastly, hit subscribe and share the video you're about to see if you're watching. We're moving some of our audience towards the video-based application, so on YouTube. We're going to jump right into this today. We got Karah Behrend on, and Karah's a really, really interesting story, and I feel really lucky to have her on. What's up, Karah?
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, for sure. Karah, first thing that jumped out to me is like, what was going on in your life to go from like a cheerleader? Like you were totally a high school cheerleader and then jumped into military intelligence. You have this adaptive story. We'll get to that in a second, but I'm looking at my notes right now. You jumped, that's like two different cultures, man. What's going on there?
Yeah. I don't know what was going through my mind at 17 years old, but I enlisted I scored high, and they're like, hey, you could do this and you'd be all secret and it's cool and you can't tell anybody what you're doing. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Sign me up. And that was the beginning.
Were your parents cool with that?
My dad was an Army Ranger, so as long as I wasn't going to the Army, Navy, or Marine Corps, I was good.
What's it like having a Ranger dad? I had military parents, both mom and dad. What's it like having a Ranger?
You'd think that he'd be like scary and like show up with guns when you'd bring a boyfriend home. But no, my dad would like cook him a steak and like sit down at the dinner table and talk to him, which I think is actually a lot more scary because it forces you to like actually have a conversation. You're like, oh, ugh. Yeah,
for sure. No, I want the opposite. I want it just like on the table that he could end me. You know what I mean? Like I want that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of nuts, man. I had military parents, but they were really laid back. They were pretty easygoing. They weren't lifers in the military, so everything was pretty good. Okay, you're locked in right now. What are we going to do about this coronavirus? Every event's canceled. You got Oscar Mike on. That means all their rugby tournaments are canceled. You're a rugby athlete. Like, what are we going to do to survive this thing?
So, I mean, a big thing I'm doing is I'm staying home, I'm staying safe. I got stuck in Phoenix, Arizona when everything started going down. Everything got canceled. Houston became a hotbed really fast, and we didn't think it was safe for me to go back there. So here I am in beautiful Phoenix, staying busy. So I'm just kind of keeping on top of everything I can in the local area, staying away from as many people. So I'm going into the adaptive automotive world and really like trying to showcase what we can and what we can't do currently. So luckily I have a lot of friends in the area with different cars that enabled me to keep kind of researching and getting hands-on experience with what I need.
You said adaptive. What's this whole adaptive thing that you got? Like you got this adaptive story out here, a pretty major one. Maybe I followed you for a few years. I've been waiting to get you on here, right? Yeah, you got this whole adaptive story. It's really interesting. Tell us your story, man.
Yeah. So in March of 2015, I went in for a routine bunionectomy. I'd been in the military for a couple of years, marching, the boots and everything kind of got to my feet. So we went in for a routine surgery, and I woke up with what's called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. So for the listeners that don't know, reflex sympathetic dystrophy is a malfunction of the nervous system, basically. The signals that are being sent from your brain to the different limbs and different places in your body, they're not being sent properly for me. So for the first 3.5 years, basically, I just had a really big issue with walking on my right leg. My leg was atrophying away. It was changing colors, super hot to the touch. And then a minute later, it'd be ice cold. So it was just really painful, and probably one of the worst pains that I've ever experienced. It felt like I was on fire constantly. So it's kind of a weird thing to explain to people that have never had nerve pain, but it really felt like somebody had like dipped my leg in a vat of gasoline and then took it out and like lit it on fire and would just kind of go back and forth between the two.
Damn.
So it was pretty crazy. Got into a couple car accidents in the summer of 16 and 16, and it ended up spreading the disease up my spinal cord by the summer of 18. The particular car accident that ended up leading to the spinal surgeries and leading to the disease spreading, I was driving from my house to the base to go pick up a medication and going down the main road, and this woman rear-ended me. She didn't see the bus of kids that was stopped in front of me. She didn't see me stopping, apparently, and she just went for it.
Yeah, and I know a little bit of that one. I heard that story. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's one of those moments where you're just like, do you jam both your feet on the pedal as hard as you can, or do you like try and steer away out of it? Like, what do you do? So I held as hard as I could, and yeah. So we did.
I'm a shitty driver. I wouldn't know what to do in that situation. I mean, I'm a daily driver, but I'm not going to say I'm any good at it. Now, you are a professional race car driver, but before you got there, you had to discharge from the military. Man, that had to have been tough to like leave that identity. You built that whole identity within the military. What year did you discharge? What did you do right after?
So I retired in April of 2018 after spending roughly 2.5 years at Walter Reed. So I had a good amount of time to transition and kind of get used to the idea of transitioning. But when I first got out, it was probably the roughest 6 months of my life.
What do you mean by rough?
The transition's hard, dude. Like, you lose your community, you lose your identity, you lose everything that you're about. I wanted to be a lifer. I wanted to spend 20 years in the Air Force, you know, serving my country, doing what I could. And then all of a sudden, one mess up during a surgery kind of started slipping that away, and then a car accident took it all. I mean, I didn't realize how fragile everything that I had was until I lost it, and it was a really big pill to swallow. I went immediately from there into training and then competing in the Warrior Games that summer, and you know, it was really cool. It was a lot of hype, and it was a really, really, really big production. Like, you feel really good about yourself, but you come out of it, especially being so fresh into the civilian world, and I hit a downhill real hard.
Most of your life is spent, like your active life is spent in a seated position. You're a seated athlete, a chair athlete specifically a lot of times. So that means rugby. And you jumped into the rugby. I noticed you didn't even watch Murder Ball. I know your stuff. I dug into your story. You didn't even watch Murder Ball. You just hopped in a chair and went at it.
You're correct.
Yeah. Come on, I got my resources within this community. And so like you jumped right into that sucker. Like, were you always like into this whole physical side? Because like the next step, because you were here in Vegas like right before quarantine lockdown, was something very kind of dangerous too. Like, were you always chasing that rush?
Yeah, I've always been kind of an adrenaline junkie from a young age. I think my mom said I was maybe 9 or 10 months old the first time she caught me climbing on top of the fridge to get the candy.
Damn.
So, you know, scaling up, climbing counters.
Free
everything.
soloing the fridge. You got a whole free solo of the fridge.
Yeah, exactly. The floor is lava through military housing, so you're like jumping from the staircase to the coffee table.
Oh, you were in military housing too. That's like Lord of the Flies. It's like a pretty significant thing, military housing. I got to jump back to this though, just to round out your adaptive story. Genetic or something that just you don't know?
So it happens from a trauma. Anybody can get it with trauma. So there's people that have gotten it from a sprained ankle, finger, simple surgeries, major surgeries, car accidents, and actually Daz Jones from the Seattle Seahawks woke up with it and couldn't walk at the age of 16. It's a pretty insane story. You'll probably have to look into it more later, but
what's the prognosis long term? Nobody knows. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the same with me. Nobody like,
we don't know.
Yeah, there's mystery in some of the ends. Like, there's some areas that were mysteries, you know, like nobody knows. So like you live in that realm of uncertainty, kind of like coronavirus right now, the uncertainty, everybody's kind of freaking out. How do you deal with your uncertainty?
I control what I can control, which is my attitude and my effort. Those are the only two things any of us can really keep a hand on these days, and any day really.
You joke a lot, which I like. My whole life is joking. You know, like I try to keep things light. And you harass your boyfriend a lot in videos. Like you bring him to, you put him on a stage, man. Like, is he okay with like being part? Because you're a very public person. Like seriously, you're a very public person. You've got a lot of coverage everywhere. And is he okay going on that ride with you?
So this is actually a conversation we had at the very, very beginning of when we started talking, because I didn't want to be dishonest with him, and I didn't want to kind of shy away from the fact that what I do is kind of public. And while I don't see myself as a well-seen person, he does, and he likes to bring it up and like, joke with me all the time. But it was a very serious conversation because he is a very private person, and there are a lot of very public parts of my private life that I wanted to be sure he would be okay with, because I do pride myself on keeping things real with people and making sure that if somebody's going through a bad time, they know that they can come and talk to me because I've been through the same.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Fortunately, he goes with it. He just laughs along. He jokes with me, and he just thinks that I'm silly. So.
You are silly. You were harassing his facial hair the other day. On social media, I noticed that. Did you hit TikTok yet? Are you on there now? I figure you'd be on there by now.
Oh God, I am. I got so bored. I started.
It was about time. And I got an older kid. My oldest kid. She loves it. She loves it. They don't like Instagram. The kids don't like Instagram anymore or anything. So.
Yeah, I like a mix of both. I like the pictures just because I can kind of see what people are trying to say with their words. And then the videos, I get to kind of see the personality behind the words. So it's a fun little mix. I had a video hit 1.4 million views the other day on TikTok. Yeah, I was like,
you know where your audience is, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere apparently.
Yeah, it is. Dating life. Okay, so this is something I get asked constantly, but I've been, I haven't dated in who knows how long, a long time. And so like dating life is a big one within the adaptive community that gets talked about here and there, but more under the radar because there's a lot of insecurity issues that come with it. What's the difference between dating life now I'm going to call you an adaptive athlete, which I think the label fits great as an adaptive athlete because you get that public persona too, and life prior to that. What's different?
Yeah. So before I found myself in a chair, I was actually married. So yeah, long story. I don't really want to dig into it.
How old are you?
I'm 26. I'll be 26.
Yeah, it seems like there's a rack. Come on, it's fine. You're like it felt like everybody. There's a grouping that went out. One group came in, one group out, and it was fine. Don't beat yourself up. But like, go ahead.
Well, yeah, no. So, I mean, life happens, so it's no big deal. But dating in the chair was one of the weirdest experiences in my life when I first started dating again, just because people were so, like, I've never had so many people ask me about a traumatic experience in my life more so than going out into the public. Wow. And when you're dating, it's more so on blast. And I can't think of any other scenario where somebody feels like it's okay to, on the first question or two, ask you about what keeps you up at night. Like, what is, the one hardest point of your life? Like, normally you wait till the third or fourth date with tearjerkers. But it's one of those things that kind of brings it to the forefront really, really fast, and you don't really have another option. So you kind of have to be vulnerable more so in the beginning than you would be if you were just a normal, everyday, able-bodied person. And people are a lot more rude. I found that if you say no to a guy, if he wants to dance, they'll walk around behind you, flip up your handles, and push you over towards the dance floor. I know that I told you no. Yeah. And I know that just because you can push me there doesn't mean that it's okay. And so I still don't understand why people think that things like that are okay.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's just really weird.
Yeah, that's where your TikTok can hit, right? Bring a little bit of awareness, like etiquette and stuff. Like that's one thing I noticed about you is you build a lot of awareness. Like, do you get tired of having to be on the front line? Having to be that person that's out there creating awareness for the adaptive community.
No, because it brings a lot of hate, and it brings a lot of people that aren't exactly okay with your message. And I'm pretty thick-skinned and I'm pretty strong, and I've been through a lot. You can't say much to me to piss me off or upset me.
How'd
So
you
I'd rather it be me and kind of be able to take the brunt of that for the people that can't necessarily take as much.
You were in my backyard 2 months ago, and you're part of this large scale professional racing community, and you win. You win. And you don't win. They don't have an adaptive division. You know what I mean? This is just like everybody get it. And you go and get yours. You know what I mean? And you got second place. I think in 2019, I might have the years mixed up. You got second place in the Rebel Run. And so like getting into that racing side, man, they came after you. A headhunter came after you. Why did they see you? I can't remember the exact story, but why? How'd you end up in racing?
So it ties back to dating very nicely for you.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was dating this guy, and chair life again is not for everybody. That's cool, and he let me know. And I was kind of like out of it. And my friend offered to take me mudding in her little buggy and side by side in her little quad. And so instead of like sitting on my couch moping and eating ice cream, I was like, you know what? Let's go. Let's go do it. Am I allowed to cuss on here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going and we're, drinking some beers and mud bogging, and we get stuck in this massive monsoon. Like rain is pouring everywhere. We're hiding under this like overpass, and we're just like drinking a beer, just waiting for it to pass. And finally it clears up a little bit, and we like try to go to get out, and we get freaking stuck, dude. Like I'm up to past my waist in mud water. Like I'm swimming out of there. And my friend hands me a beer, and I do like a quick little video. I'm like, well, guys, we're stuck. Like,
Yeah.
this shit.
Yeah.
And this woman had been following the hashtag on Instagram of Adaptive Athlete, and she saw the video, and she was like, if there's somebody with your function that's as calm as you are right now in that kind of situation, like I need to talk to you, and like I need to see what this is about. And so she messaged me, and she's like, have you ever tried off-roading for real? And I was like, only in my rentals. And she was like, perfect. And so that's how it started.
Yeah, I mean, going out there and showing them it can be done is pretty amazing. You get a lot of messages. You get a ton of messages, not just regarding your athletics. You get a ton of messages about life in general. And I've been opening this up a little bit lately. We've been trying to kind of raise some awareness to how crazy it can get in the DMs and stuff. Like, what are some of the craziest, wildest, weirdest stuff you received in terms of questions or comments?
I get a lot of weird requests for videos and pictures of my feet.
I don't get that ever. People don't want to see my feet. They don't care about my feet.
I mean, I got weird scars, and like
Me
they
too.
don't move. It'd be cute if they did a little like crip dance for it, little cripsies. But like those toes aren't even like wiggling; they just sitting there. I don't know. I get a lot of older men that think that I need to have somebody take care of me, so that's what they want to do too.
Oh.
Yeah. It's really gross.
Yeah.
Um
I'm pretty aware of that happening. Like in the community, you hear from a lot of people, that are more like public, like you, it seems like.
I think the best one yet has been, I've gotten a few messages where people have found me online on different dating sites. I'm not on those dating sites.
Oh no.
So, I mean, props to whoever's using the chick in the chair to catfish people, because I didn't think somebody would do it.
Like, what are they going to be like, remarkably healed when they get back or something?
Right.
Like
it's a miracle.
Yeah, man. Like, that's crazy. Okay, that one wins.
Yeah.
That's a bigger one. I got to tell you, pretending that you're.
It was weird. I was just like, who in their right mind? Like, and I got stickers all over the back of my chair. Like, you can't even, how are you going to fake that? Like,
Yeah. Where are you competing next? What's next? Like, in terms of like competitions, like everything's been shut out. Like, what does summer schedule and fall schedule look like?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Man, that sucks.
Hopefully we will be in San Felipe. I don't know if I'll be racing, but I'll be down in San Felipe, hopefully for the Mint 250.
Yeah.
I believe that's what it is in September. But yeah, we're looking as far out as September.
Well, you're many years post trauma, post injury trauma that induced everything that's going on right now. You're many years out from that now. And you've had a lot of time to like really think about like what this is all about. What's my purpose? What drives me? I get that a lot. Yesterday, I spent an hour on the phone with somebody that just couldn't figure out where I'm going with life. Well, where they're going with life. And they just seem lost. Like, what is it all about for you? Like, what is this whole life about for you?
Well, first, I go through that struggle so often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't tell you how many days a week I will sit there and look at my boyfriend and be like, babe, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like, why am I doing this? Like, what is the point? You know, like, I just had somebody say this mean thing, like, you know, I'm really working hard on this and I'm really working hard to make this and this and this work for people. Like, why are people so mean? Like, why am I even doing this anymore? And a lot of the times he like reminds me back to a moment where say we're driving in the car and my hand control starts sticking a weird way and I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. I need to fix this. Like, this can be done a different way. This can be better for everybody. He's like, that's your purpose. He's like, everything you see as a problem for yourself, you see as a problem for everybody and you want to make it better. He's like, that's what you do. And so I kind of keep reminding myself that that's what I do.
Do you ever like, are you still hitting dark moments? Like, do you hit the dark moments? It seems like a lot of people. Yeah. Yeah. How do you handle those dark moments?
I cry in the shower like a grown adult, like we all should do. I feel like that's the best place to get it out because nobody can tell after you've already had all that water on your face. And then talk to somebody about what you're actually feeling, because a lot of times we're just not seeing the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. We're so focused on a minute detail of something that didn't go quite the way we wanted it to, or maybe didn't have the result that we wanted, but maybe might still be okay. And it usually 9 times out of 10 works out better in the long run. It just takes a little bit of stepping back and you have to look at the bigger picture. What's
your favorite thing about the adaptive community since being here?
The heart. I love watching somebody tell somebody else to fuck off. I don't need your help, and then struggling to get through something. It is my absolute favorite thing to watch in the world. And if you'll probably see it as your daughter is like navigating the world of TikTok. People will sit there and go, oh my God, I'm so sorry for you. I'm so sorry for you. I'm so sorry for you. What are you sorry for? Like, what the fuck are you sorry for? I love my life. I love every single aspect of it, even the hard parts, because it gives me things to think about later on, and it gives me different things to learn from.
What can people get from your social media accounts when they go there? I know, but like just something like, what can they expect to see?
You can expect to see everything from me falling out of my mother's doorstep and my brother not catching me.
Nice.
Yeah, that one's up there. It's a Ring doorbell video. My mom's doorbell video caught my brother letting me eat shit out of the front steps.
How old's your brother? Your poor brother. How old is he?
No, the first thing he said was, don't fall on me. And then as soon as I fall, you watch him nicely glide out of the way and go, didn't do it.
Yeah, like a little sidestep, push aside, and then let you fall.
Like push it over a little more.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, siblings are best, right?
Oh yeah. Let's see what else. I don't know. I try to be funny and light, but I also try to kind of help keep the positive message out there and help people learn when they can. Or if there's something that's like really eating at me that I feel like I need to talk about, I'll put it up there. But
yeah.
Lots of jokes, lots of real Karah, I guess. Now,
where's Karah going to be, like, in terms of speaking and competing and stuff? Like, are you going to be in that realm coming up?
I hope so. I really, really hope so. As soon as the world opens back up, I'm actually headed out on a driving trip, so I won't be like going in any stores or whatever, but I got to go to California tomorrow to film another podcast, but a pretty big name guy asked me to speak.
Now, to wrap this up, Karah, because one thing that I found so remarkable about you is that you're so uplifting and you're funny, and then at the same time you're uniting the community. And it doesn't matter that like a certain wheelchair company's there or certain products there. You don't give a shit. It doesn't mean it's not on a level. It's the individual level, which I'm all about that life. I could give a shit about anything. I turn down every sponsorship, everything that comes my way, because I want that pureness. You have that pureness in you so much. And so like, I think you're just a real, like, you're a real ass person, as the kids call it. You know what I mean? And like, you're really fun to be around. So Karah Behrend, thank you for being here. It's super important to me to have you here. We want to catch up with you. We're going to get you on video and vlogs and see what you're up to. Like, the more coverage we get of you, the more we share what you're doing, the more we inspire so many out there that aren't doing anything. And I like, people get pissed when I use the word inspire, but like within our community, we kind of need that going on. Like, showing you're doing some cool shit, and because there's a lot of people sitting out there wondering like, what can I do, and you're showing them what you can do, which is pretty amazing. So I really appreciate you being here, and go follow Karah, go follow her.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Remember, go to livingadaptive.com to find previous episodes, show notes, contacts for guests like this guest, links to social media accounts, and a bunch of other good stuff. So go there. Peace.